Imagine receiving the most special invitation of your life, and then being brutally rejected by your own sister. The reason? Your body wasn't perfect enough for her wedding photos. But what happened after this humiliation changed everything. This is the story of Rachel, a woman who transformed the worst family betrayal into her greatest victory. Get ready, because what you're about to hear will move you deeply. There's a pain that cuts deeper than any other. The pain of being rejected by someone who should love you unconditionally. The pain of discovering that your worth, in the eyes of someone you love, is tied only to your appearance. And when this rejection comes from your own family, from someone who grew up by your side, who shared secrets and dreams with you, the wound becomes even deeper. We live in a world obsessed with standards. A world where people are judged by the size of the clothes they wear, by the number that appears on the scale, by the shape of the body they carry. But when this obsession invades family bonds, when love becomes conditional and superficial, something very serious happens. The safe harbor crumbles. The place where we should be accepted as we truly are transforms into yet another source of judgment and pain. This is the real story of Rachel, a 32-year-old woman who lived this cruel reality firsthand. Rachel was always close to her younger sister, Lauren. They shared memories, laughter, complicity. When Lauren got engaged, the invitation for Rachel to be her maid of honor came loaded with emotion and meaning. It was a moment they both dreamed of sharing together. But 3 months before the wedding, everything fell apart. Lauren canceled Rachel's invitation. The reason was devastating and humiliating. Rachel had gained weight and wouldn't fit into the perfect aesthetic that Lauren planned for the wedding photos. Rachel's story will show you how the greatest betrayal can transform into the greatest lesson. How the deepest pain can awaken a strength you didn't even know you had. And how the true value of a person can never be measured by appearances. Before we continue, tell me, what city and country are you watching us from? Leave it here in the comments. We love knowing where our viewers are from. Rachel was on the couch in her apartment, watching some show on a Friday night, when the phone rang. It was Lauren, her younger sister. Her voice on the other end of the line was different, full of enthusiasm and happiness. "Rachel, you won't believe it!" Lauren shouted from the other side. "What happened? Are you okay?" Rachel asked, sitting up straighter on the couch. "He proposed. Tyler proposed to me." Rachel felt her heart explode with joy. She jumped off the couch, screamed with emotion. "Oh my God, really? How was it? Tell me everything." "It was at the lakeside restaurant. He hired musicians. There were candles everywhere. And he got down on one knee in front of everyone and asked if I wanted to marry him." "Rachel, it was exactly like I always dreamed. I'm so happy for you. So happy. Tell me more. What's the ring like?" "What did you say?" "I said yes, of course. And the ring is beautiful. You're going to love it when you see it. It's white gold with a diamond in the center. I'm still shaking." The two spent almost an hour on the phone, talking about every detail of that magical moment. Rachel wanted to know everything, from the expression on Tyler's face to the reaction of the people at the restaurant. In the following days, Lauren started planning the wedding. She called Rachel almost every day, excited, sharing ideas about the dress, the flowers, the decoration, the cake. "Rachel, what do you think of white roses? Or do you prefer lilies?" Lauren asked in one of those calls. "I think white roses suit you better. They're classic and elegant, just like you," Rachel answered. "True, you always know what to say. And about the cake, do you think we should make it chocolate or vanilla?" "Chocolate for sure. Everyone loves chocolate." Rachel loved being part of this. She worked as a marketing manager at a small company, had her busy routine, but always found time to listen to her sister and give her opinion on every decision. The two had always been close since they were kids. Even with 7 years' difference, they shared secrets, confidences, dreams. Rachel remembered when Lauren was little and followed her everywhere, wanting to be just like her older sister. That engagement call brought back all those memories. 2 weeks after the engagement, Lauren invited Rachel to lunch at a cafe downtown. Rachel arrived first, chose a table by the window, ordered tea, and waited. When Lauren walked in, she had a huge smile on her face and a paper bag in her hand. The two hugged tight. "You're glowing," Rachel said, squeezing her sister's hands. "I'm so happy, Rachel. So happy that sometimes I think I'm going to wake up and find out it was all a dream." They sat down, and Lauren started talking about the preparations. "I already chose the ceremony location. It's that old church near the Central Park. Remember we used to pass by there when we were kids and I said I wanted to get married there?" "I remember. You always said that. How amazing that it's going to come true. And I already have almost the entire guest list ready. It's going to be a lot of people, like 200. Wow, it's going to be a huge party." "Yes, and I already decided on the decoration colors. Everything will be in light pink and gold tones. It's going to be beautiful. I know it will." And then, in the middle of the conversation, Lauren pulled out the paper bag and took out a box wrapped with a golden ribbon. "I have something for you." Rachel felt a tightness in her chest, one of those good tightness, when you know something special is about to happen. "What is this?" "Open it," Lauren said, pushing the box across the table. Rachel opened the box slowly, and inside there was a handwritten card. She started reading out loud. "Lauren, will you be my maid of honor?" Rachel felt her eyes fill with tears. She looked at her sister and saw that Lauren was emotional too. "So, do you accept?" Lauren asked with a choked voice. "Of course I do. Of course I accept. It would be the greatest honor of my life to be by your side on that day." Rachel stood up and hugged her sister over the table. "I didn't want anyone else in the world besides you by my side, Rachel. You've always been here for me in all the important moments of my life. It wouldn't be different now." The two spent the rest of lunch talking about the maid of honor role. "You're going to wear a long dress in light pink, matching the other bridesmaids. We'll do a fitting in a few weeks," Lauren explained. "I'll help with everything you need. Bridal shower, bachelorette party, whatever you want." Rachel said, "I know I can count on you. I always could. You're the best sister in the world, Rachel. Really." Rachel left that lunch floating. She felt seen, valued, loved. Being chosen to stand by her sister at the altar was more than a role. It was a symbol of everything they shared, of all the history they built together. In the following days, Rachel started imagining herself on the wedding day. She thought about what it would be like to be there, holding the bride's bouquet, helping Lauren with her dress, walking beside her before she entered the church. Rachel even started researching beauty salons, thinking about how she would do her hair and makeup. A coworker asked how her sister's wedding planning was going. "It's going great, and I'm going to be the maid of honor," Rachel answered, unable to hide the pride in her voice. "That's cool. That means you're very close." "We are. We always have been. She's my best friend, you know?" Rachel had been living alone for 4 years. She had gained her independence, paid her own bills, had her space, her organized life. Lauren, on the other hand, still lived with their parents. She was 25 years old, worked at a clothing store, and was saving money to get married and move out. Even living in different places, the two saw each other frequently. Rachel stopped by their parents' house at least twice a week, and always found Lauren there. On one of those visits, Rachel and Lauren were in their parents' kitchen preparing dinner together. "I still can't believe you're getting married," Rachel said, cutting vegetables. "Me neither. It seems surreal," Lauren answered, stirring the pot on the stove. "Remember when we were little and we used to pretend to have weddings in the backyard?" "I remember. I was always the bride, and you were always the bridesmaid." "Nothing has changed," Lauren laughed. "That's true. Some things are forever." The wedding was scheduled for 6 months from then. Lauren said the time would be tight, but enough to organize everything. Rachel offered help with everything necessary. "I can help research vendors, compare prices, go with you to dress fittings, whatever you need," Rachel offered. "I'm going to need you a lot, Rachel. There's so much to figure out, and I want everything to turn out exactly as I planned." Rachel went home that day, feeling that life was in the right place. She had a good job, a comfortable apartment, dear friends, and now she would have the honor of being by her sister's side on the most important day of her life. But what Rachel didn't know, what she couldn't even imagine, was that 3 months later, everything would crumble in the most cruel way possible. And now I want to know from you, has someone you loved ever made you feel like you weren't enough? Think about it for a moment. And if you're enjoying this story, leave your like here on the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any incredible story like this one. 3 months had passed since that special lunch at the cafe. Rachel was living the happiest days, helping Lauren with the wedding preparations whenever possible. She had already gone with her sister to 2 dress stores, had helped choose the party menu, had even suggested ideas for the table decorations. Everything was going well, or at least that's what Rachel believed. During those 3 months, Rachel went through some changes in her life. Work became more intense, with new projects and tight deadlines. She started working more overtime, sleeping less, eating irregularly. Sometimes she skipped breakfast. Other times, she ate fast food for lunch because she didn't have time for anything elaborate. And when she got home at night, tired and exhausted, she just wanted something quick before falling into bed. With this disorganized routine, Rachel gained a few pounds, nothing absurd, nothing that changed who she was inside, but enough for her clothes to feel a little tighter. Rachel wasn't worried about it. She knew it was a phase, that when work calmed down she would return to her normal routine. She saw no problem with her own body. She was still the same person, with the same heart, with the same values, with the same personality. And at no point did she imagine that those extra pounds would matter to anyone, much less to her own sister. It was on a Thursday afternoon that Lauren sent Rachel a message. The message was short and direct. Need to talk to me. Can we meet for coffee tomorrow? Rachel found the tone of the message strange, but answered yes, that they could meet the next day. Lauren suggested the same cafe where she had given the maid of honor invitation months ago. Rachel agreed. On Friday, Rachel left work a little early to arrive on time. She entered the cafe, looked for Lauren with her eyes, and saw her sitting at a table in the corner, away from the window this time. Rachel went over there, kissed her sister, and felt that something was different. Lauren didn't smile like she always did. She was serious, almost cold. "Hi, is everything okay?" Rachel asked as she sat down. "Hi, yes, everything's fine. But I need to talk to you about something important. About the wedding." Lauren answered without looking into her sister's eyes. Rachel felt a tightness in her chest. She imagined that maybe Lauren was having financial problems, or that some vendor had backed out, or that the church had some issue. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared Rachel for what came next. Lauren took a deep breath and started talking. "Look, Rachel, I thought a lot about this. You know I want my wedding to be perfect, right? I've dreamed about this day my whole life." "Yes, I know. And it will be perfect, I'm sure," Rachel answered, trying to be comforting. "That's what I need to talk about the maid of honor thing." Lauren paused and looked down at the coffee cup in front of her. "What about it? Did something happen?" Rachel asked, confused. Lauren raised her eyes and let out the words that destroyed Rachel inside. "I'm going to need to cancel your invitation as maid of honor." Rachel was paralyzed. "What? What do you mean cancel?" "It's just, look, it's nothing personal, okay? But you gained weight these last few months, and that doesn't fit into the vision I have for the wedding. I want the photos to be flawless, you know? For everything to have a certain harmony, an aesthetic, and you, the way you are now, don't match that." Rachel couldn't process the words immediately. She looked at Lauren, hoping it was a bad joke. "You're kidding, right?" "No, Rachel. I'm serious. I know it seems harsh, but it's my wedding. It's the most important day of my life, and I need everything to be perfect." "Perfect, Lauren? You're taking me out of the wedding because I gained a few pounds." Rachel's voice started to tremble. "I'm not taking you out of the wedding. You'll still be there, of course, just as a regular guest, not as a maid of honor. I already talked to Amanda, and she's going to take your place." Rachel felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. Amanda, you already replaced me. Rachel, I needed to solve this quickly. The wedding is 3 months away. I couldn't leave it to the last minute. 3 months since you invited me at the cafe, Lauren. 3 months ago, you said it would be the greatest honor to have me by your side. Tears started to fill Rachel's eyes. And I know that, but things changed. You changed. Your body changed. And I need you to understand that this isn't about you as a person. It's just about the wedding aesthetic. Rachel felt each word like a stab. It's not about me as a person. Lauren, you're literally judging me by my appearance. How is this not about me? You're overreacting. It's just a role in the wedding, Rachel. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world for you. For me it is. You invited me, made me feel special, made me believe I was important to you. And now you're throwing me away because I don't fit into your perfect photo album anymore. Look, I knew you were going to react like this. That's why I wanted to talk in person, so you'd understand it has nothing to do with how much I love you. I still love you. You're still my sister. That doesn't change. Rachel stood up from the chair, grabbed her purse with trembling hands. If you really loved me, Lauren, you never would have done this. Rachel, wait. But Rachel didn't wait. She left the cafe as fast as she could, without looking back. She didn't want Lauren to see the tears running down her face. She didn't want to give Lauren the satisfaction of seeing how much that destroyed her. Rachel got in the car, closed the door, and broke down. She cried like she hadn't cried in years. She cried from the humiliation, from the rejection, from the cruelty. She cried because the person who should love her unconditionally had just put a price on her appearance. She cried because she felt small, ugly, inadequate. She cried because she realized that her sister's love had a limit, a standard, a measure. Rachel drove home on autopilot, not even really noticing the way. When she entered the apartment, she threw her purse on the couch, went to the bedroom, and lay down on the bed, still dressed. She stayed there, looking at the ceiling, trying to understand how things had gotten to that point. How the sister she loved so much, that she admired, that she always supported, had been capable of doing something so cruel. And the worst part was that Rachel knew there was no going back. The words had already been said. The wound had already been opened, and nothing, absolutely nothing, could erase that. Rachel spent the entire weekend locked in her apartment. She didn't want to see anyone, didn't want to talk to anyone, didn't want to leave the house. She turned off her phone because she couldn't stand the idea of Lauren calling or texting as if nothing had happened. She ordered food by delivery, but could barely eat. Her appetite had disappeared along with the will to do anything. She stayed in bed most of the time, reliving every moment of that conversation at the cafe. Lauren's words echoed in her mind, non-stop. You don't fit into the wedding aesthetic. It's just about appearance. I already talked to Amanda, and she's going to take your place. Each word hammered deeper, opening new wounds on top of old ones. Rachel started questioning everything. Did Lauren always think like this? Did she always judge Rachel by her appearance, but never had the courage to say it? Was all the affection, all the closeness, all the history they shared conditional? Rachel got out of bed on Saturday afternoon and went to the bathroom mirror. She stood there, looking at her own reflection, trying to understand what Lauren saw that was so horrible. She saw the same eyes as always, the same face, the same smile that no longer appeared. Yes, she had gained a few pounds. Yes, her body was different, but she was still her, still Rachel, the same person who hugged Lauren when she cried over a breakup, the same person who stayed up all night doing college work with her, the same person who was always there for whatever her sister needed. But apparently none of that mattered. What mattered was fitting into an aesthetic standard for wedding photos. Rachel went back to bed and picked up her phone. She turned on the device and saw she had several messages. Some were from Lauren. Rachel opened one of them. Rachel, I know you're upset, but I hope you understand that I didn't do this to hurt you. It's just a matter of wedding organization. You're still my sister, and I still love you. Rachel felt anger rising in her chest. She deleted the message without responding. There was another message from Lauren. Look, I talked to Mom and she said you're not responding to anyone. Please, don't be like this. We can talk calmly about this. Rachel deleted that too. There were messages from their mother. Rachel, honey, call me when you can. I'm worried about you. Lauren told me what happened and I wanted to talk about it. Rachel didn't respond. She wasn't ready to talk to anyone in the family. She knew that if she talked to her mother, she would have to hear some request to understand Lauren's side, to forgive, to make peace. And Rachel wasn't in a position to do any of that. On Sunday morning, the phone rang. It was her father. Rachel hesitated, but answered. Hello, Rachel, honey. Are you okay? Your mother is worried. I am too. I'm fine, Dad, just needing some time alone. Your mother told me what happened with Lauren. About the wedding. Oh, she told you. Rachel felt her voice tremble. Honey, I know you're hurt, and you have every right to be, but your sisters fight, but they always work it out. Family is forever. Rachel felt anger rising in her chest. Dad, family should be the place where you're accepted as you are, not a place where you're measured and judged. The father was silent on the other end of the line for a few seconds. I understand your pain, Rachel, really, but Lauren is suffering too. She didn't want to hurt you. Didn't want to hurt? Dad, she took me out of the wedding because I gained weight. How is that not wanting to hurt? Look, I'm not defending what she did. I'm just saying that maybe you two need to talk calmly when tempers cool down. I don't want to talk to her now. I don't want to talk to anyone. That's okay, honey. I respect your time. But know that we're here for you, okay? Okay. Thanks, Dad. Rachel hung up the phone and realized she was truly alone. She couldn't count on her family because the family would always try to minimize, would always ask her to understand, to overlook. But how to overlook something like this? How to pretend everything was fine when it wasn't? The following days were even worse. Rachel went back to work on Monday, but was on autopilot. She did the tasks, participated in meetings, answered emails, but her mind was elsewhere. During lunch, a work friend, Jennifer, sat next to her in the break room. Rachel, are you okay? You seem different since last Friday. I'm fine, Jen, just tired. Rachel tried to force a smile. Are you sure? Because if you want to talk about something, I'm here. Rachel looked at her friend and felt like telling everything, but the words didn't come out. Thanks, Jen. I just need some time. Okay, but remember, I'm here, okay? At night, alone in her apartment, Rachel started reliving childhood memories with Lauren. She remembered when the two slept in the same room, and Lauren was afraid of the dark, and Rachel turned on a nightlight so she could sleep. Rachel, can you leave the light on? I'm scared. Little Lauren's voice echoed in her memory. Of course you can, Lau. I'm here. Nothing bad is going to happen, Rachel would answer, pulling her sister close. She remembered when Lauren fell off her bike and hurt her knee, and Rachel cleaned the wound and put on a Band-Aid. Does it hurt a lot? Rachel would ask, blowing on the injury. It hurts, but you're here, so it's okay, Lauren would answer, holding her sister's hand. She remembered when Lauren was rejected by her group of friends at school. Lauren came home crying, went straight to her room. Rachel went up after her. Lau, what happened? The girls said I can't sit with them at lunch anymore, that I'm weird. Weird? You're not weird. You're amazing. Those girls just don't know how to see how special you are. Do you really think so? I'm sure. And you know what? You don't need their approval to be amazing. You already are. And now Lauren had done exactly what those girls did to her. Rejected. Judged. Excluded. Rachel felt a mixture of sadness and anger. Sadness for the loss of that bond she thought was unshakable. Anger for being treated that way, as if she were a decorative object that didn't match the party. She picked up her phone and opened the old photos. There were hundreds of photos of her with Lauren, birthday parties, family trips, graduations, Christmases, Easters. In all the photos they were together, smiling, hugging, happy. Rachel looked at those images and felt a tightness in her chest. Had all that been real? Or had it been just an illusion? Rachel closed the photo app and threw the phone on the bed. She went to the apartment window and looked at the street below. People passed by, living their lives with no idea of the pain she was feeling. And at that moment, Rachel realized something important. She realized she couldn't go on like this. She couldn't let this destroy her forever. She needed to find a way to deal with that pain, to process that rejection, to move forward. But she had no idea how. 2 weeks had passed since that devastating conversation at the cafe. Rachel continued living on autopilot, doing the basics to survive. Work, home, work, home. She avoided places where she might run into someone she knew, avoided calling her parents, avoided any situation that might bring up the subject of Lauren's wedding. On a Wednesday afternoon, Rachel was in line at the supermarket when she heard someone calling her name. She turned and saw a woman smiling in her direction. It took Rachel a few seconds to recognize who it was. It was Michelle, a college classmate she hadn't seen in years. "Rachel, I can't believe it. It's been so long," Michelle said, approaching. "Michelle, wow, how long has it been?" Rachel tried to smile, but knew the smile didn't reach her eyes. "About 5 years, I think, since graduation. How are you?" "I'm fine. And you?" "I'm great. I moved to the city about 3 months ago, got a job at an accounting firm nearby." Michelle paused and looked more closely at Rachel. "But you don't look well. Did something happen?" Rachel hesitated. She hadn't talked about what happened with anyone outside the family. But there was something in Michelle's look, something genuine, that made Rachel lower her guard. It's a complicated story. Look, I was going to get coffee up ahead. Want to come with me? We can talk a little." Rachel thought about refusing, but something inside her said she needed to talk to someone. Someone who wasn't family. Someone who could listen without judging or trying to minimize. "Okay, let's go." The two paid for their groceries, put everything in the car, and went to a small coffee shop on the corner. They sat at a table in the corner, ordered coffee, and Michelle waited for Rachel to start talking. "My sister is getting married," Rachel began. "That's great, and you don't seem happy about it." "I was very happy. She asked me to be her maid of honor, and it was one of the most special moments of my life." Rachel felt her voice tremble. But 3 months before the wedding, she canceled the invitation. Canceled? Why? "Because I gained weight." She said I didn't fit into the photo aesthetic. Michelle's eyes widened. "She said that? Your own sister?" "She did. And she also said it wasn't personal, that it was just a matter of appearance." "Rachel, that's horrible. I'm so sorry." "The worst part is I can't stop thinking about it. I feel useless, ugly, inadequate, and my family wants me to overlook it, to understand her side." Michelle was silent for a few seconds, stirring her coffee with the spoon. Then she looked at Rachel and said something Rachel didn't expect. "I know exactly how you feel." "You do?" "I do. 2 years ago, my mother didn't invite me to my brother's wedding." "What do you mean she didn't invite you?" "She said I was going to cause problems, that my brother's family was very traditional, and that I, being who I am, wouldn't be welcome." "Being who you are?" "I'm gay, Rachel, and my mother is ashamed of that. So she simply decided it would be easier to exclude me from the wedding than to deal with other people's judgment." Rachel felt her heart tighten. "Michelle, I didn't know. I'm so sorry." "You don't need to be sorry. I got over it. Or rather, I'm getting over it. It was a long and painful process, but I learned something very important." "What?" "That people's love can't be conditional. And when it is, when people put conditions on their love, the problem isn't with you. It's with them." Rachel felt Michelle's words echo inside her. "But it's so hard not to take it personally, you know? Not to feel less because of it." "I know. Believe me, I know. In the first months after the wedding, I felt invisible. I felt like I had no value at all. But then I started therapy, and the therapist asked me a question that changed everything." "What question?" She asked. "Do you want to be loved by the people who judge you, or do you want to love yourself enough not to need their approval?" Rachel was silent, processing the words. And what did you answer? I didn't answer anything at the time. But over time, I realized that spending my whole life trying to please those who don't accept me was a prison, and that the only way to be free was to learn to accept myself first. And did you manage to accept yourself? I'm still in the process. Some days are easier than others, but I learned that my worth doesn't depend on anyone's opinion, not my mother's, not my family's, not anyone's. Rachel felt something stirring inside her, a small spark of hope. How did you do it? How did you start? I started therapy. I started surrounding myself with people who truly loved me, without conditions. I started doing things that made me happy, things I had set aside because I was always trying to be who others wanted me to be. And did it work? It's working. It's not fast. It's not easy, but it's working. And you know what's the most incredible thing? I became a better person, stronger, more confident, happier. And all because I stopped letting other people's judgment define who I am. Rachel felt her eyes fill with tears. But this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of relief. Relief to know she wasn't alone. That there was someone who understood, who had been through something similar and had survived. Thank you, Michelle, really. You have no idea how much I needed to hear this. We go through these things so we can help other people when they go through them. If you want to talk more or need a therapist recommendation, call me. I'll give you my number. The two exchanged numbers and spent another hour talking about everything and nothing. When Rachel left that cafe, she wasn't healed. The pain was still there. The hurt was still there. But there was something new too. A small seed of hope. The idea that maybe, just maybe, she could come out of this stronger than she went in. After the conversation with Michelle, something changed inside Rachel. It wasn't a drastic change. It wasn't like waking up and being completely different. It was more subtle than that. It was a change in the way she looked at herself, at the situation, at the future. Rachel spent the whole night thinking about Michelle's words. Do you want to be loved by the people who judge you? Or do you want to love yourself enough not to need their approval? The question echoed in her head until dawn, and when the sun rose the next morning, Rachel made a decision. She was going to change, but not for the reasons Lauren wanted, not to fit into a standard, not to become a bridesmaid again. She was going to change for herself. On Thursday morning, Rachel called work and asked for the day off. She needed to organize her thoughts, needed to take the first step. She took the card Michelle had given her with the therapist's contact and called. Dr. Stevens, office, good morning. A female voice answered. Good morning. I would like to schedule an appointment, please. Of course. Have you been a patient of Dr. Stevens before? No, it's the first time. A friend recommended her. Perfect. Let me check her schedule. She has an available time tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. Does that work for you? Yes, it does. Rachel wrote down the address and hung up. She felt a tightness in her chest, that mix of fear and relief that comes when you finally decide to face something difficult. She knew therapy wasn't going to solve everything overnight, but it was a start. On Friday, Rachel arrived at the office 15 minutes early. The waiting room was cozy, with plants, colorful paintings, and soft music playing in the background. When it was 3 o'clock, a woman in her 50s, with gray hair pulled back in a bun, opened the door and smiled. Rachel. Yes, that's me. Nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Stevens. Come in. Rachel entered and sat in a comfortable armchair. The therapist sat in front of her with a notebook and a pen. So, Rachel, tell me, what brought you here today? Rachel took a deep breath. My sister took me out of her wedding because I gained weight. Dr. Stevens didn't seem shocked, just nodded with empathy. And how are you feeling about that? Destroyed, humiliated, inadequate, like I have no value at all. And do you think these things you're feeling are true? What? Do you really have no value? Are you really inadequate? Rachel was silent. She had never thought about it that way. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it. Rachel, feelings are real, but that doesn't mean they're true. The fact that you feel inadequate doesn't mean you are inadequate. It just means someone made you feel that way. Those words hit Rachel like lightning. She felt her eyes fill with tears. I want to learn not to let other people's opinions destroy me like this, Rachel said, with a choked voice. And you will learn. It will take time, but you will. The first step is to recognize that you deserve to be loved unconditionally, and that if someone puts conditions on love, the problem isn't with you. Rachel spent the next hour talking with Dr. Stevens about her childhood, about her relationship with Lauren, about fears and insecurities. When she left the office, she felt lighter, not healed, but lighter. In the following days, Rachel started making other changes. She researched gyms near her apartment and found one that offered yoga and Pilates classes. She wasn't doing this to lose weight for Lauren. She was doing it because she wanted to feel good, because she wanted to take care of her body and mind. In her first yoga class, Rachel felt uncomfortable. She couldn't do all the positions, didn't have the flexibility of the other students. But the teacher, a woman named Sarah, came over to her and said something that stuck with her. Don't compare your beginning with the middle of someone else's journey. You're here, you're trying, and that's already amazing. Rachel smiled. She needed to hear that. She also started cooking more at home, not because she was on a diet, but because she wanted to eat things that were good for her body. She bought fresh ingredients, tried new recipes, transformed the kitchen into a place of pleasure, not guilt. One evening, while preparing a healthy dinner, Rachel called Michelle. Hi, Michelle, how are you? Rachel, hi, I'm great. And you? I'm fine, better than I was. I started therapy. Really? That's amazing. How is it going? It's being hard, but good. I'm learning a lot about myself. I told you it would help. Are you proud of yourself? Rachel paused. She hadn't thought about that. You know what? I am. I'm proud of trying. And you should be. It's not easy to face our pain, but you're doing it. Rachel also started rediscovering things she loved to do, but had set aside. She always liked painting, but had stopped years ago because she thought she didn't have time. She bought paints and canvases and started painting again. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't professional, but it was hers. And that was enough. She started writing in a journal every night before sleeping. Dr. Stevens had suggested this as a way to process feelings. Rachel wrote about the day, about small victories, about difficult moments. And over time, she realized she was getting to know herself better. In one of those therapy sessions, Dr. Stevens asked an important question. Rachel, what do you want for your life going forward? I want to be happy. I want to feel sufficient. I want not to depend on other people's approval to feel valuable. And what are you doing to get there? I'm here. I'm taking care of myself. I'm trying. Then you're already on the right path. Rachel left that session with a different feeling in her chest. For the first time in weeks, she felt real hope. She didn't know what was going to happen with her relationship with Lauren. She didn't know if they would ever be close again. But she knew one thing. She wasn't going to let that define her. She was going to rebuild herself, piece by piece, day by day. And she was going to do it for herself, not for anyone else. 3 months had passed since that devastating conversation at the cafe. 3 months since Lauren canceled the invitation. 3 months that completely changed Rachel's life. Rachel woke up on a Friday morning and went to the bathroom mirror. She looked at the reflection and saw someone different. Not just physically, although, yes, she had lost weight with her healthy routine of exercise and balanced eating. But the biggest change was in her eyes. There was a light there that didn't exist before, a confidence that came from within. Rachel had maintained weekly therapy with Dr. Stevens. The sessions were intense, sometimes painful, but transformative. She was learning to value herself, to set boundaries, not to seek external validation. She was learning that her worth didn't depend on anyone's opinion. That morning, Rachel got ready for work with special care. She had an important meeting at 10 o'clock. In the last 2 months, she had dedicated herself intensely to a new project at the company, a project that could change the course of her career. When she arrived at the office, Jennifer came running to her. Rachel. You look beautiful. That dress is perfect on you. Thanks, Jen. I'm nervous about the presentation. You're going to kill it, I'm sure. You worked so hard on this project. And Rachel really did kill it. The presentation was flawless. She showed the results of the marketing campaign she had developed, the numbers she had achieved, the strategies she had implemented. When she finished, the company director stood up and applauded. Rachel, that was excellent. More than excellent. It was brilliant. He said, Thank you, sir. I want to talk to you later about a promotion. We're opening a marketing director position, and I think you'd be perfect for the role. Rachel felt her heart race. Really? Completely serious. Let's schedule a meeting next week to discuss the details. Rachel left that room floating. She could barely believe it. After everything that had happened, after all the pain, she was being promoted. She was achieving something incredible. At lunch, she called Michelle. Michelle, you won't believe it. What happened? Tell me. I'm going to be promoted, marketing director. Rachel, that's amazing. I knew you'd make it. I still can't believe it. It feels like a dream. It's not a dream. It's you reaping what you sowed. You worked hard, dedicated yourself, and now you're getting the recognition you deserve. Rachel felt her eyes fill with tears, but they were tears of joy. Thank you for everything, Michelle, for showing up that day at the supermarket, for listening to me, for giving me hope. We met at the right time, and I'm so proud of you. In the afternoon, Rachel received a message from Lauren. It was the first time Lauren had tried direct contact in weeks. Rachel, can we talk? I'm so sorry for everything. I was wrong. Please, give me a chance to explain. Rachel looked at the message for a long time. She didn't feel anger. She didn't feel hurt. She just felt a deep calm. She replied, Lauren, I need more time. What you did hurt me a lot. I'm working on myself now and I'm not ready for this conversation yet. Lauren responded almost immediately. I understand. I'll wait as long as you need. I just wanted you to know that I know I was wrong. Rachel didn't respond. She put away her phone and went back to work. That night, Rachel went to yoga class. She was already at the intermediate level, could do positions that 3 months ago seemed impossible. After class, Sarah, the teacher, came to talk to her. Rachel, I just wanted to congratulate you on your progress. When you got here 3 months ago, you were so tense, so closed off. And look at you now. Thanks, Sarah. Yoga saved my life in many ways. It wasn't the yoga, it was you. Yoga just gave you tools. You did the work. On the weekend, Rachel organized a dinner at her apartment. She invited Michelle, Jennifer, and some other friends from work. She cooked, set the table, put on music. When the friends arrived, the house was cozy and full of life. Rachel, your house is beautiful, Jennifer said, coming in. Thanks. I wanted to do something special to celebrate. Celebrate what? One of the colleagues asked. Celebrate that I survived, that I went through the hardest moment of my life and came out stronger on the other side. The friends toasted. They talked, laughed, shared stories. And Rachel realized she had built a true support network. People who loved her for who she was, not for what she looked like. On Sunday, Rachel went to visit her parents. It was the first time she had gone to their house since the episode with Lauren. Her mother opened the door and hugged Rachel tight. Honey, you look beautiful, different. Thanks, Mom. Come in. Your father is in the living room. Rachel entered and sat in the living room with her parents. Lauren wasn't there. Her mother served coffee and cake. Rachel, I know things got difficult, and I want to apologize to you. Her mother said, Apologize for what? For not defending you like I should have. For trying to minimize what Lauren did. You were right. What she did was wrong. Her father agreed. We talked a lot with her, and she's truly sorry, but we understand you need your time. Thank you for understanding. I'm still processing everything. We just want you to know that we love you, always loved you and always will love you, just the way you are. Rachel felt enormous relief. She hugged her parents and stayed there for a few hours, talking, reconnecting. When she returned to her apartment at night, Rachel opened her journal and wrote, Today I realize that I'm no longer the same person I was 3 months ago. I'm stronger, more confident, more whole. And I did this alone. Nobody gave this to me. I conquered it, and nobody can take it from me." Rachel closed the journal and looked out the window. Lauren's wedding was a few weeks away. She still didn't know if she would attend, but she knew one thing. No matter what happened, she would be fine, because now she had something no one could take from her. She had herself. It was the eve of Lauren's wedding. Rachel was at her apartment, trying to decide whether or not she would attend the next day. The invitation was still on the living room table, where it had been for months, untouched. A regular invitation, like any other guest. No longer the special maid of honor invitation she had once received with so much love. Rachel spent the whole day in doubt. She called Dr. Stevens in the morning, and they talked for almost an hour about the decision. The therapist didn't tell Rachel what she should do, just asked the right questions for Rachel to find her own answer. "What is your heart saying?" Dr. Stevens asked. "My heart says, I want to go. But I don't know if it's the right decision." "Why do you want to go?" "Because I want to prove to myself that I got over it, that I'm okay, that what she did didn't destroy me." "And do you need to prove that to someone?" Rachel was silent, thinking, "No, I don't need to, but I want to go for myself. I want to look at her and know that I'm whole." "Then you already know your answer." Rachel spent the afternoon organizing the apartment, doing simple things that calmed her down. She cooked, read a little, painted on a canvas. Activities that connected her with herself. At 9 o'clock at night, the phone rang. Rachel looked at the screen and saw Lauren's name. She hesitated. It had been weeks since Lauren had called directly. Rachel took a deep breath and answered. "Hello." "Rachel. Hi. I know it's late, but I needed to call you." Lauren's voice was shaky, desperate. "What's wrong, Lauren?" "It's about tomorrow, about the wedding." Lauren paused, and Rachel heard a sob from the other side. "One of my bridesmaids just canceled. Jessica had a family emergency and won't be able to come." Rachel felt her stomach tighten. She knew exactly where this conversation was going. "And I know I have no right to ask you this. I know how much I hurt you. I know I was horrible to you." Lauren was crying now. "But I'm begging you, Rachel, please, please, accept to be my maid of honor tomorrow." Rachel closed her eyes. That moment she had imagined so many times in the last 3 months was finally happening. Lauren was asking her back, but it wasn't like Rachel had imagined. It didn't taste like victory. It just tasted bitter. Lauren, you're calling me the night before your wedding, desperate because someone backed out." "It's not just because of that. I want you there, Rachel. Really. I should have asked for this 3 months ago. I should have backed down the day after that horrible conversation at the cafe." "But you didn't?" "I know. And I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. But please, give me a chance to fix it. Let me do this right." "Please, Rachel." Rachel felt tears running down her face. "Lauren, you took me out of the wedding because I wasn't good enough for your standards, because I didn't fit into your perfect aesthetic. I know, and I was wrong. So wrong. You were always good enough. You were always more than enough. I was the one who was blind. And now you want me back because you ran out of options. That's not it. It's not about me running out of options. It's about me wanting my sister by my side. It's about me realizing I ruined everything and wanting to fix it." Rachel sat on the couch, holding the phone tightly. "Lauren, do you have any idea what I went through these 3 months?" "I imagine, and I'm so sorry. So sorry." "No, you don't imagine. You have no idea. I went into depression. I cried every night. I looked at myself in the mirror and hated myself. I had to go to therapy to learn that my worth didn't depend on your approval." Lauren sobbed on the other end of the line. "Rachel, forgive me, please. I know I don't deserve it, but forgive me." Rachel wiped the tears from her face. She needed to think. She needed to process this. "Lauren, I need time to think. But the wedding is tomorrow. I need to know if you're going to accept. And I need time to think. You're calling me at 9 o'clock at night, the eve of your wedding, and you want an immediate answer. I know it's not fair, but I'm desperate, Rachel. I need you. Rachel felt anger and hurt fighting with something deeper. Part of her wanted to say yes, wanted to become a bridesmaid again, wanted to recover that special moment. But another part of her, the part that had grown in those 3 months, knew that accepting would be validating Lauren's behavior. It would be saying it was okay for her to have done that. Lauren, I don't know. I really don't know. Please, Rachel, I'm begging you on my knees here. Please, you're my sister. I love you. I always loved you. I just forgot to show it. I need to hang up now. I need to think. Okay, but please, think kindly. Think about us, about everything we've always been to each other. Bye, Lauren. Rachel hung up before Lauren could respond. She threw the phone on the couch and started crying. Crying from anger, from hurt, from confusion. She didn't know what to do. Accepting would be going back to the place she always wanted to be, but it would also be accepting being treated as a second choice. Refusing would be maintaining her dignity, but it would also be losing perhaps the last chance to reconnect with her sister. Rachel called Michelle. Michelle, she called me. Lauren? Yes. A bridesmaid backed out, and she wants me to come back. And what did you say? I said I needed to think. Michelle, I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to say yes, but another part knows it would be wrong. Rachel, only you can make this decision. But answer me one thing. If you accept, will it be because you want to or because you feel you should? Rachel was silent. Exactly. Think about it. And whatever decision you make, I'll support you. But it needs to be yours, nobody else's. Rachel spent the whole night awake, thinking, remembering everything. The pain of rejection, the healing journey, the woman she had become, and the dilemma she now faced. When the sun rose, Rachel still didn't have an answer. She only knew one thing: whatever decision she made, she needed to be at peace with it. Because in the end, she was the only person she would have to live with for the rest of her life. And now I want to know from you. If you were in Rachel's place, what would you do? Would you accept the request or maintain your dignity? Leave it here in the comments. I want to know your opinion. Rachel woke up on the morning of the wedding after a night with practically no sleep. She had spent hours thinking, remembering, weighing each option. And when the sun rose, she finally had her answer. She wasn't going to accept Lauren's request. She was going to the wedding, but as a guest, as it was planned from the beginning. She picked up the phone and sent a message to Lauren. I'll be at your wedding today, but I'm going as a guest, not as a maid of honor. I hope you understand. Good luck today. Rachel didn't wait for a response. She turned off the phone and went to take a shower. She got ready with all the care in the world. She washed her hair, did her skincare, chose every detail. She put on the elegant navy blue dress she had set aside, did her makeup highlighting her eyes, put her hair in a sophisticated bun, leaving some loose strands framing her face. When she was ready and looked at herself in the mirror, Rachel saw a woman completely different from the one 3 months ago. She was beautiful, radiant, confident, and most importantly, she was at peace with her decision. Rachel grabbed her purse and went to pick up her parents. When she arrived at their house and her mother opened the door, she was speechless. My God, Rachel, you look absolutely stunning. Thanks, Mom. Her father appeared and smiled proudly. My daughter, what a beautiful woman you've become. In the car, on the way to the church, her mother asked, Lauren called you last night, didn't she? She did. And what did you decide? I decided I'm going as a guest. Not as a maid of honor. Her father looked through the rearview mirror. I'm proud of you, honey. You're respecting yourself. When they arrived at the church, there were already a lot of people. Rachel entered with her parents and sat in a pew in the middle. Some people recognized her and looked surprised. Rachel knew people were commenting, speculating, but she didn't care. The music started. The bridesmaids entered, all in light pink. Amanda was among them, in the place that should have been Rachel's. And then the wedding march played. Everyone stood up. Lauren entered holding her father's arm, and when Lauren passed by the pew where Rachel was, their eyes met. Rachel saw the shock on her sister's face. Lauren clearly didn't expect Rachel to look so beautiful, so confident, so well. Lauren stumbled slightly, regained her balance and kept walking, but Rachel saw that it had shaken her. The ceremony happened. Lauren and Tyler exchanged vows, kissed, were declared husband and wife. Everyone applauded. Rachel applauded too, but with a bittersweet feeling in her chest. After the ceremony, everyone went to the reception hall. The place was exactly as Lauren had dreamed. Perfect, impeccable, magazine-worthy. Rachel found her table, greeted people, and sat down. The party began with speeches, dances, celebrations. Rachel participated politely in everything, but maintained a certain emotional distance. She was present, but not completely engaged in it. After the first dance of the newlyweds, Rachel decided to step out for some air. She went to the back terrace, a quiet place with a view of the lit garden. She leaned on the railing and took a deep breath, feeling the cool night breeze. "Rachel!" She turned and saw Lauren standing there, still in her wedding dress, with red eyes and an expression of pain on her face. "Lauren, you came?" "I said I would." Lauren took a few steps toward Rachel. "You look beautiful. More than beautiful. You look different." "I am different." "Rachel, about last night, about me asking you to come back. You don't need to explain. I understood perfectly." Lauren wiped away a tear. "When I saw you entering the church, when I saw how you looked, I realized something. I realized how much I lost, how much I threw away." Rachel crossed her arms. "You made the choice to push me away. Lauren, nobody forced you." "I know, and it was the worst choice of my life." Rachel felt the anger she had kept for 3 months starting to rise. "Do you know what you did to me? Do you have any idea?" "Rachel, no, let me talk. Because you need to hear this." Rachel took a step toward Lauren, her eyes shining with emotion. "You destroyed me. You, my own sister, looked me in the eyes and said I wasn't good enough, that I didn't fit into your perfect photos. I know, and I was wrong. You made me question my worth as a person, made me go into depression, made me cry every night. You took something from me that day at the cafe, Lauren. You took my confidence, my self-esteem, my faith in family relationships." Lauren was crying now. "I'm so sorry, so sorry. And yesterday you called me, desperate, because a bridesmaid backed out. Not because you realized you were wrong, not because you missed me, but because you needed someone to fill an empty space. It wasn't like that. I wanted you there. But you didn't want me 3 months ago. You replaced me with Amanda without thinking twice." Lauren covered her face with her hands, sobbing. "I have no excuse. There's no excuse for what I did." Rachel took a deep breath, trying to control her emotions. "Lauren, I need you to understand something. What you did wasn't just about taking me out of the wedding. It was about putting conditions on love. It was about saying that your love for me depended on my appearance. That's not true. I always loved you. Then why did you do that? Explain it to me. How were you capable of it?" Lauren took her hands off her face and looked at Rachel with red eyes. "Because I'm weak. Because I'm superficial. Because I was so obsessed with having a perfect wedding that I forgot about the people who really matter. You forgot about me. I forgot about you. And I'll never forgive myself for that." Rachel took another step toward Lauren. "And I spent 3 months rebuilding myself. I went to therapy. I learned to value myself. I learned that my worth doesn't depend on your opinion or anyone's opinion. And you know what else I learned?" "What?" "That I deserve unconditional respect. No matter how I look, how much I weigh, what I look like, I'm your sister, and that should have been enough all along. You were always enough. Always." Rachel shook her head. "No, Lauren, I wasn't enough for you. But now I'm enough for myself. And that's what matters." Lauren took a step toward Rachel. "Please, tell me what I need to do to fix this. Anything. I'll do anything." "It's not about doing anything. It's about you really changing. You need to work on your issues, Lauren. Your obsession with perfection, your need for approval, your fear of judgment. You need help. I'll get help. I promise. Rachel looked into her sister's eyes. Lauren, the relationship we had died 3 months ago. That Rachel who idolized you, who would do anything for you, who accepted anything, she doesn't exist anymore. Rachel, please, let me finish. Maybe one day, if you really change, if you really work on your issues, we can build something new, something different, but it will be on my terms, with clear boundaries, with mutual respect. I accept anything. And until then, until I see real change, not just words, there will be distance between us, because I need to protect myself. I need to protect the peace I conquered. Lauren nodded, crying. I understand, and I'll do the work. I'll change. Really. Rachel gave one last look at her sister. I hope you're happy in your marriage, Lauren. From the heart. But our relationship will never be the same again until there's real change. Rachel turned and started walking back to the hall. Lauren called out to her. Rachel, wait. Will you ever forgive me? Rachel stopped and looked over her shoulder. Maybe. But first you need to show me you deserve it. Rachel went back to the hall, grabbed her purse, and went to her parents. I'm leaving now. Did you already talk to Lauren? Her father asked. I did. I said everything I needed to say. Her mother hugged Rachel. We're proud of you. Rachel left the hall, got in the car, and drove back home. And when she got to the apartment, when she took off the dress and lay down on the bed, she felt something profound. She had done the right thing. She had respected herself. She had set boundaries. And she had left that wedding whole, not broken. 6 weeks had passed since the wedding. Rachel continued her life focused on herself. The promotion at work had been made official, and she was loving the new challenges. Weekly therapy continued, as well as yoga classes and painting moments. She had built a full life, full of purpose and meaning. On a Thursday afternoon, Rachel arrived home and found a letter in the mailbox. It was handwritten, in Lauren's handwriting. Rachel hesitated before opening it. She took the letter to the couch, sat down, and took a deep breath before starting to read. Rachel, I don't expect you to respond to this letter. I just need you to know some things. In the last few weeks, since the wedding, I started therapy. I'm working with a psychologist twice a week, and it's been very difficult but necessary. I realized I have deep issues with self-esteem, with seeking external approval, with obsession with perfection. Things that come from childhood and that I never worked on. My therapist helped me understand that what I did to you wasn't about you. It was about my own insecurities and fears. But that doesn't justify anything. It doesn't take away your pain. It doesn't erase what I did. I just want you to know that I'm really working on myself. Not for you. Not so you'll forgive me. But because I need to. Because I don't want to be that person who hurts those she loves anymore. I take full responsibility for what I did. It wasn't the fault of wedding pressure. It wasn't anyone's fault but mine. And I'm sorry. More than words can express. With love, Lauren. Rachel finished reading the letter with tears in her eyes. She could feel the sincerity in the words. But she also knew that a beautiful letter didn't change everything. Real change took time. Consistent action. Rachel put the letter in a drawer. She wasn't going to respond now. Maybe she would never respond. But she recognized the effort. She recognized that Lauren was trying. In the therapy session the following week, Rachel showed the letter to Dr. Stevens. How did you feel when you read this? The therapist asked. Relieved, sad, hopeful, all at the same time. Do you want to respond? Not yet. I need to see if it's real. If she's really going to keep up with therapy, if she's really going to change. Words are easy. Actions are hard. You're right to maintain your boundaries. I learned that from you. In the following weeks, Rachel heard from her parents that Lauren was really doing therapy, that she was working on herself. But Rachel maintained the distance. She wasn't ready to reconnect. And maybe she never would be. And that was okay. 6 months had passed since Lauren's wedding. Rachel was living the best phase of her life. As marketing director, she led an incredible team and had just closed a big contract for the company. Her apartment had become a cozy refuge, full of plants, paintings she had painted herself, and happy memories. On a Friday night, Rachel organized a dinner at home with Michelle, Jennifer, and other friends. The table was beautiful, the food delicious, laughter filled the room. "Rachel, you're glowing," Jennifer commented. "Seriously, there's something different about you." "I'm happy, really happy," Rachel answered, smiling. "And how are things with Lauren?" Michelle asked carefully. "We're talking again, little by little. She kept up with therapy. She's really working on herself. We had lunch together last week for the first time in months." "And how was it?" "Different. There are boundaries now. There's respect. It's not what it was before, but maybe it's something better. Something more honest." Rachel had learned that not all relationships need to go back to what they were. Sometimes they transform into something new, and that was okay. On Sunday, Rachel woke up early and went to yoga class. Afterwards, she stopped by the market, bought fresh ingredients, and went back home. While cooking, she put on music and danced around the kitchen. She looked around and felt deep gratitude for everything she had built. In the afternoon, she opened her journal and wrote, "Today, I realized something incredible. I am happy, not because someone validated me, not because I fit into some standard, but because I learned to love myself, to value myself, to know that my worth never depended on anyone's approval. The pain Lauren caused me almost destroyed me, but it also rebuilt me, made me stronger, more confident, more whole. I didn't change to please anyone. I changed for myself. And that's the difference. Today I look in the mirror and love the woman I see. Not because she's perfect, but because she's real. Because she fought, fell, got up, and won. That's my victory." Rachel closed the journal and smiled. She had conquered something no one could take from her. Her self-love, her dignity, her peace. Rachel's story teaches us something powerful. Our worth can never depend on other people's approval, not even from family. When someone puts conditions on love, the problem isn't with you, it's with them. Rachel transformed the greatest pain of her life into her greatest victory. She didn't change to please her sister. She changed for herself, and that's the true transformation. If you're going through something similar, if someone made you feel like you're not enough, remember, you were always enough. You always will be. Don't let other people's judgment define who you are. Now tell me, what did you learn from this story? How did it touch your heart? Leave it here in the comments. And if you liked it, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next amazing stories like this one.